Orient recently launched an exciting 38mm Bambino. Wasn't necessarily a fan of the platform, but this model really convinced me to buy it. That's right, Orient Bambino was reinvented and made actual for our sizing preferences, coming up with interesting colors and a bracelet but without ruining from its classic DNA. So the Bambino doesn't need any introduction, we all know it. But for our understanding, this line aims to compete in the budget dressy or classic elegant watches category. In general, dressy watches are offered on leather, which can be matched chromatically with the belt or the shoes according to the guidelines, but this time Orient came up with a fresh line of Bambinos with an actual design and appealing color options, equipped this time with a bracelet with the aim to offer a mix between the elegance of a dressy watch and a modern everyday go anywhere do anything watch. And according to the World Wide Web, the Orient Bambino line was launched in 2012. And that's actually a surprise, because I was sure this model was dated as DNA from the 60s or the 70s, because some of the contemporary variants are basically inspired from that era. Throughout these years, the Bambino was offered in different sizes, color options or dial variants, Arabic or Roman numerals, even open hearts. But out of the previous versions proposed or generations, I think these new models with clean dials and faceted markers are ideally sized and simplified to create excitement. And all we have to do is to sit and to see how people will react to this model. To fulfill that, Orient entered in the trend of washed colors, offering a palette of the most trending monochromatic colors of 2024, consisting in tones which are faded to evoke optimism, reliability or serenity. And Orient came up with such a palette in this case on a faded pink or a salmon tone, a calm rich green or a faded blue tone, adding later a turquoise version or an earthy brown, the last two coming up exclusively on a brown leather. Now, the question might be, should you really consider this watch? A lot of people are asking me, what is the ideal automatic dress watch to start with for a business casual outfit? And if until now I would have had recommended maybe other brands, from now on my top recommendation can be this beautiful Bambino with a salmon dial and a bracelet. And the reason why I say this is because the brand came up with a completely watch in my opinion. Has a respectable history, it is made by a brand which first of all provides the assurance of quality. With the help of the modern technology, it is finished in a way which doesn't look cheap at all. It is extremely well sized at 38mm and thin, has an open case back which unveils a decent movement, has a playful warm color, and most important, it comes on a bracelet which qualifies it not only as a dress watch but as an everyday watch which has the ability to provide compliments from the admirers. In detail, the new Bambino version 7 continues the line of the classic compact watches, with more focus on the dial, with a case which basically follows the circular identity of the dial with discrete lugs, has a thin profile with epoxy mineral crystal, which is as well part of the DNA of the line, has an automatic movement and a beautiful elegant crown with a narrow grippy surface which makes the watch to look more refined. The crown really works with the overall composition. The highlight of the watch must be the dial for sure. This time, the 38mm collection surprises through a refined somber surface colored in this fade or pink salmon pigment which interacts with the light, especially because the dial is curved towards the extremities, making it more interesting and classy. On the macro level, there aren't any faults or errors, the watch feels simply premium. The dial is clean, the logo is nicely embossed and colored accordingly, the markers applied look pretty sharp and well executed in the shape of an arrow, faceted and engraved longitudinally to create interesting accents. The top marker is basically doubled in width to define the 12 o'clock position, and I do like the idea of adding a truncated marker at 3 o'clock position in order to keep the symmetry of the markers throughout the dial. Having a date frame discreetly trimmed towards the interior without a metallic frame in order to not disturb the calmness of the dial. The hands are super interesting and well executed. They are highly polished, split in two precise facets, and if we look closely, these aren't just straight Daphne hands. The angle of the hands are basically changing the direction closely to the base, creating an effect of being curved towards the interior, featuring a long needle hand which is curved to follow the dial angle. Honestly, these are accents which I find spectacular for a $300 watch. Overall, it feels like they're kinda applying the same principles which Grand Seiko does to their base models. And yeah, without lume. The case feels like the supportive frame for the dial, which has a three-dimensional look due to the curved dial and the box crystal. But although the case is discreet and thin, the facets are nicely sharp and well defined with a longitudinal brushing on the side, with perfectly trimmed lugs complemented on the front facet by a polished appearance and a polished faceted bezel. The case really feels premium and individually it looks appealing on a leather strap as well. The crown, as I was mentioning, is part of the composition and I like how it pops against the dial. And despite their reduced prices compared to the new Seikos, they still have the power to engrave their crowns with the Orient logo. Now we have to discuss about wearability, comfort and looks. Firstly, this is a comfortable platform due to the compact specs and the watch is not weighty. Has a thin profile, the color pops on the wrist which gets amplified to the light, but overall the case lays down beautifully on the wrist surface. And then I was nervous in regard to the bracelet, thinking that will not match the elegance of the watch head. But I would say it is slim enough and decorated with large brushed and polished surfaces in order to not disappoint. The taper, it's not spectacular, it starts from 20mm tapering towards 18mm with a short clasp and 2 micro adjustment points. But overall I didn't feel the need to remove it from the watch and put a leather strap, and that's a good sign. As quick specs, actually the Bambino measures 38.4mm in width, with 44.5mm as lock tip to lock tip, 13mm in height but 10 without the crystal, 20mm between the lugs and weighs 105 grams. The watch offers a mineral box glass 3-bar as waterproofness, but I severely assume that since this is a modern watch having a war resistant label on the dial, this definitely should not fail if you enjoy your time in a swimming pool. The watch has an open case back unveiling the caliber Orient F6724, which doesn't look bad in my opinion. It is plain and simple without any attempt of decorating it. As price, the retail starts at $300, but in time I guess this can be purchased below this retail price. And as a conclusion, the Orient Bambino is more than just a watch. It's a celebration of significance, history and new design. Whether if you are a heavy collector or just beginning your watch journey, this timepiece certainly deserves a spot on your radar. The Bambino apparently is a timeless icon and a perfect candidate to qualify it as a brave beater on the channel, in the position number 63 if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, well deserved. So whether you're gravitating towards the aesthetic appeal of its fascinating backstory, the Orient Bambino is undoubtedly a captivating piece of horological significance. We've described the watch, we've qualified it as a brave beater. I think that's it. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'm really curious to know what do you think about this Bambino in 38mm. Please let me know in the comments below. And as usual, if you're new around, please consider subscribing for future episodes. Thank you very much, thanks for watching, and until next time, be brave and stay safe.